Michelle Scott, who won a Diversity Champion Award back in 2019. So let's start off by telling me a bit about yourself. What's your name and what do you do?
Oh, I'm Michelle Scott, and I am now retired.
Woo,
So,
that's exciting.
yeah, I know. I retired just in June, June 30th. So, I had worked various, I suppose I worked in various different places, various different jobs until I went to the university in 94 and stayed there for 27 years. And I worked both in the undergraduate BBA co-op program and then moved to the MBA program where I was for the last 18, 19 years of my career.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I worked primarily with, once I went to MBA, I worked primarily with international students, which was a real treat.
Okay, so I hear that you did a lot of like education stuff. What made you choose the education path?
I have a BBA and I got an MBA, and at that point, just as I was finishing my MBA, I was like, oh yeah, I don't know if this is really what I wanted to do. Like, I didn't feel that after all that being in the corporate world was for me. So I tried a couple of different types of jobs with smaller firms, and then I saw the job at the university come up, and I applied, and it's just I wanted something that had more meaning, where I felt I'd be of more use to society, basically.
Right. And now that you have retired, what are you planning to do?
I'm planning to garden.
Oh, like fruits and vegetables and stuff like that, or just plants?
Yeah, well, everything. And I guess I made my intentions very clear because when I retired, UNB gave me a greenhouse.
Really?
Yes.
Like an actual greenhouse, like a building greenhouse?
It would be more of a, what you call a polytunnel or a hoop house.
Oh, what's that?
It's metal. It's got metal supports, and it's I'm not very tall, so this will work for me. It's 6 feet in the center.
Yeah.
And it just comes up in like an arch. And it's like a really heavy plastic, like a greenhouse plastic. So I should be able to grow things at least until December, depending on the year that we have, maybe into January, like
I was gonna say
and things like that.
Have you grown a lot this year, like since you retired, or no, just because of the weather?
No, well, the weather's not been that bad, to be honest. From a gardener's perspective, we do need lots of rain. August is actually going to be fairly dry, from what I can see, the next couple of weeks, despite today and last week. But I did actually. I prepared last year. I knew that I've always gardened some. I had plots in the community garden as well, and I started to get ready. So I had some raised beds built last year, and this year I got compost. And once I got that in, it was a bit late because my job was incredibly busy, and it stayed busy up until the minute I left.
Yes.
So I only had so much time, so I really only got underway like July 1st.
Okay.
But so far, I've grown a little bit of everything.
What's your favorite thing to grow?
Well, gosh, I'm thinking. That's a hard one. I have things I grow just for the challenge. I don't really even like that much, like eggplant, because they're just really hard to grow. I love to grow tomatoes. I'm actually fairly good at that. But peas, are the thing that I look forward to, and they've just come. Like they're just ready now.
Yes.
And I grew tons of lettuce and kale, and
kale grows so fast.
Yeah, I've got some beans coming, and the corn is looking good, but hopefully we'll have a little warmth in September because it'll need it. I've got some potatoes in, like a couple of cucumbers, a couple of zucchini, a couple of this, a couple of that. Like, I didn't go overboard.
You could open a little farmer stand with all this vegetables.
Well, honestly, that's what my father did. He retired from the oil industry, and that's exactly what he did. He had 8 acres and a tractor and all that stuff. I'm very small scale at this point. But once I've got the greenhouse, I did start a few perennials this year, so flowers are more challenging.
Yes.
And I have flower gardens, but they kind of, between my job and looking after my parents who used to just live a few doors over, my property went into disrepair. So I'm looking forward to reclaiming those. And
well, now you have all the time in the world to do that, which is awesome.
Yes, I do. Exactly.
Okay. And do you have a memorable story featuring a student you taught? Like, you don't have to say their name, but like maybe something you said that changed the way they thought, or there's a story that just sticks with you?
There have been certainly some very special students who really touched my heart over the years. And, some who really struggled. It just seemed like, where MBA, or at least our program where it was 1 year, was so intensive that if anything was going to go wrong, it would happen then. Like, people will get sick. Like if they've got any sort of lingering germ in their body, it's going to hit them right then.
Yeah. Did that happen a lot with COVID?
Not specifically with COVID, but this year was very traumatic. People have lost various family members, and they go through so much to get here.
Yeah.
And things happen that are tragic and traumatic away from them, and they can't get back to Africa, India, China, or especially this year, wherever it is they're from.
Yeah, COVID's been really difficult for that, especially. Okay. So coming to the Diversity Champion Awards, do you know who nominated you for the award?
I do. Yes.
Okay.
It was Lynn.
Oh,
Lynn
it was.
Lynn
Of course, it was Lynn. And how do you think you incorporated the 3 items like inclusion, diversity, and equality before winning the award? Like, why do you think Lynn nominated you?
That's just how I lived my life. I grew up in a rural community in New Brunswick where those things were not in evidence. It was not diverse. Anything that was different was nailed back down. It would be level and just the same as everybody else. And I just always found myself drawn to the different, and it was probably my mother and my grandmother's influence, wanting to fight the racism and discrimination that I saw on a daily basis where I grew up. Yeah. Just knowing that was wrong. And so I always went the extra mile. I'd be if I was in class with somebody who was not exactly like the rest of us in the room, I always wanted to go and say hi and welcome them. And I just was trying to do really my little bit to, I guess, even it out, with the racism I saw even in my own family. So, and then I just kept getting attracted more and more to jobs that involved, in in my case, it's particularly different races and different ethnicities. But I know because of my outlook, for example, Student Services had once sent me a transgender student who was here from India who wanted to talk about how to broach that with hiring.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I guess I just had that outlook, I guess, and people knew. So, and also my brother is gay. So it just, that sort of informs your life.
Yes.
And, and that changed me as well, because I didn't grow up being used to, I guess, being around.
I think it's now LGBTQAI2S+.
I had to fight for that, really, in small little ways, like, when the students would arrive for orientation, I would have to be the one who was like, no, we can't serve beef. Why not? They're here in Canada, right? They have to learn to eat the same way we do. And I'm like, no, they don't.
No.
Well, they'll eat it when they get here anyway, but that's their decision. We don't serve it to them. So even though I'd specified with the hotel who was doing the catering, no beef, they served a beef barley soup one day at lunch. And 2 students came to me just like ashen-faced.
Oh, no.
So they, it wasn't just that it would make them angry or insult them. It's just, I can't even find the right word, but it was just so deeply disturbing to them that they were in the presence of beef.
Like, when was that? Like, what year was that? Do you know?
Probably 10, 12 years ago.
Okay, I was going to say, like, if it was, like, recent, like, 5 years, I feel like that would have been different because, like, now there's, like, a lot of the population is vegan and vegetarian.
Yeah.
But that still shocks me that even the...
It does.
Ridiculous.
I mean, the hotel, like, the banquet manager was, deeply apologetic.
Okay.
And I was like, yes, I know. I don't get mad about many things, but that really angered me.
Yeah, especially when you ask them to do it and they just kind of ignorance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Carelessness in that case.
Yeah. So, explain the night of the Diversity Champion Awards. Were there any memorable moments, any connections made at all?
Well, I mean, it was just a completely shocking experience. Because when Lynn nominated me, I was like, oh, well, yeah, go ahead. But, I mean, we were in a meeting. And at the end of the meeting, Lynn said she wanted to nominate me. And I certainly heard of it. But I was like, well, I mean, you can if you want to. And I said, I don't really think that I fit the categories, because it was my job, right?
Yeah.
Is what I was thinking. This is my job. It's not like I'm going and volunteering.
Yeah.
So, I was very surprised that the nomination was accepted. And then I was like, and then I realized, that my entire team was going to go. They bought a table, and I was like, oh, okay.
Like, you guys don't have to do this. Like, I don't even think I'm going to win.
I invited my sister, and I said, look, this is going to be a nice evening. We'll have a nice dinner, but I will not win. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want you to be disappointed. I will not win. Because for one thing, I'm up against an entire school board. So it's just not going to happen. And then so we were sitting there, and I was preparing to hear the Anglophone school district's name called. And they called my name, and I just froze. And my sister, it was like she was kind of mad in a way. She was like, you didn't warn me. You said you wouldn't win. gave my little speech. Of course, I'd prepared one. I never stay on script, but, and then by the time I almost fell down the stairs, coming off, and I was bawling because I just maintained my composure, and one of my teammates basically caught me at the bottom of the stairs, and I cried all over her. I was so shocked and so gratified.
Yeah.
And, felt, I don't know, this is kind of weird to say this, but I felt hurt.
Why?
Like, I suppose because I'd had to fight a lot.
Oh, okay.
To be heard on those matters, and
just now you were getting the recognition.
And where I was at university and all the different things that we needed to do. Like, they hired people, they had a department, to take care of international student affairs. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't alone anymore.
Yeah.
I guess I recognized that through helping my students and through them getting jobs, I certainly recognized I was making an impact on the community, but it wasn't one that I ever expected people noticed.
Yeah.
Or would be recognized.
Well, you did it. People recognized it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then how did winning the award, change either the way you worked or your life in general?
It didn't change anything at work, really.
Yeah.
But it changed me. What the award was intended to do, it allowed me to realize I had achieved my goals. I had left my legacy.
Yeah.
And now I could retire.
And you'll be on the prude wall for the rest of eternity.
Yeah. Stupidly, I somehow managed to miss the group picture.
No.
I did.
Your picture's on the wall, though. It's just your face, so.
It's in there.
Yes.
So I left. I was so overcome, I thought it was done, and I just left.
and then you look on the Facebook next day, and it's a picture without you.
So it really, I guess, and it legitimized everything that I had done, and it was certainly recognized at the university, just like everyone's recognized when they get an award.
Any award, yeah.
Yeah, and for me, it just meant, okay, I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm done now.
I'm done. And then you retired 2 years later.
Yeah, well, it's I'd been thinking about it, but I was also thinking, there's so much more I need to do. Mm-hmm. Right? And then I was like, no, you know what?
COVID happened. Whatever.
There are other people. So I passed the torch on to one of my graduates, and I feel really good about that.
Oh, that's good. At least you know the person, so.
Yeah.
So, if you could change one thing about the world, what would it be?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I always struggle with these because I feel like it needs to be something realistic. Clean water for everybody.
Yes, for sure. That would be...
That covers everything. Diversity and the environment.
Yes. Yes. And then, if you could go back to a 10-year-old you and give them advice, what advice would you give them?
Right, but believe in yourself.
Oh, it's always a good one too, because
yeah,
I feel like everyone at that age either doesn't doesn't believe in themselves, or just is oh, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I totally that's the best answer you could really give.
Okay.
Believe in yourself.
Good.
And then the last question, where is your award now? Keep it.
It's actually really close to me. I brought it home and put it on my desk, which is just here in the living room. So
you can see it every day.
Have it somewhere where I can look at it, because when I was at work, I kept it in my office for a couple of days, but then I put it on the display shelf that we have in our welcome area, just outside, just it's in our offices, but not in my office. So then I was like, well, yeah, this is mine, so I'm taking it with me.
I want to be able to see it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking me to interview you.
Okay, great.
Yeah.